you so much for joining us, Mr. Amit. It's a pleasure having you. With 18 years of experience and expertise in conceptualizing and executing these multi-level programs in a wide range of value chains in agriculture, like I mentioned, horticulture and forestry, what would you say has changed in the sector and where do you see it heading?
I have worked in this sector almost for 18 years, and in different capacities. I have worked in grassroots organization. I've worked with United Nations. I've worked with the government. I have worked with the foundations. Currently, I am with Tanager from last 11 years. So what I have seen, the change. So agriculture, it's a vast canvas. So I'll have to classify into different categories. Like if I look from the policy perspective, many things have changed. Like subsidies. Initially, it was subsidy that was not going into farmers' pocket. Rather, it was given to the companies for subsidizing farmers' inputs. Now it's directly going in their pocket through direct transfers. Then other acts like Agriculture Produce Marketing Act, by which government used to regulate the market, that has changed drastically. Now government has allowed farmers to sell their produce wherever they want, in whichever state they want, and where they find comfortable, and they get the best price. So those changes have been made by government. So that is policy perspective. So if you look at from gender perspective, so feminization of agriculture is happening. Women, they are increasingly participating in a much greater role. Earlier, they were confined to the field work, where they used to do from sowing seeds, doing intercultural operations, but they were not involved any of the activity which where there was money involved. So now they are taking leadership roles. They are also participating in marketing, and one of the most important things that has happened, they have been recognized as a farmers. Third thing is the technology. Now many startups in agriculture that has come up and doing well, especially increasing productivity, like bringing blockchain technology in supply chain. For traceability has become increasingly important for the suppliers, off-takers. They want to trace back the product, what chemicals were used, who produced it, where it was produced, how it was packed, and how safe the food is. Another angle is the shared value. Many of the companies, they are now working on mutuality, shared values, where they want the community, the farming community, who grows food or who grows the raw material for those companies, and in a way they are also helping the farmers for their well-being. Like they're investing in education, they're investing in training, they're investing in many other things, health and other things. So that is also a change that has happened down the line in 18 years. Now, if we talk of the entire ecosystem, that is changing from year to year. Like earlier, nobody was thinking of changing, the entire ecosystem, bringing many partners in the entire value chain. Now, everybody is thinking of integrating the entire value chain. Like they are bringing good input sellers, they are bringing, the technology providers, they are bringing, the grassroots organizations who can provide hand-holding support to the farmers. So those things have changed in last 18 years, and that is good for the agriculture, because if you want to have a good growth in agriculture, then you need to invest in agriculture, and that was not happening from last 2 decades. From last 6 years, we are seeing a lot of policy changes, a lot of interest that government has come up, like the Krishi Samman Nidhi Yojana. So they are also, government is also providing some money to the farmers so that they can purchase inputs and they can grow better produce. So those are the changes I can see in 18 years that have changed.
Now talking about your current role at Tanager, so how would you say Tanager is working towards creating more interventions in the space of agriculture? And another aspect that Tanager really crucially works on is creating communities around the whole domain of agriculture. So what is it that you do differently to build those communities and spread your message around that interventions?
Yeah, before I tell you about what Tanager is doing in agriculture, so I should give you a brief background. What is happening, what are the problems in this sector. Like India is having a huge demand for all the produce. Since farmers, they are small and marginal, the data that 89% of the farmers, they are small and marginal. So they are not part of the value chain. So you need to develop that supply chain or value chain, which is inclusive of these small and marginal farmers, where women are also playing a leadership role. Also, these small and marginal farmers, especially the poorest of poor. So to make it inclusive, Tanager is first thing that Tanager is doing. They are making collectives, may it be the self-help groups or the farmer producer organizations. I'll give you one example of NEEM. We have created 4 farmer producer organizations. Now they are providing quality inputs to the farmers, and also they're helping farmers to adopt good agricultural practices, to have a better yield, and also to come up with the good quality oil which can fetch a better price in the market. One of our FPO named Shubh Bikal has done a business of more than $1 million in last financial year. So this is very much possible. So this kind of intervention we are doing. Another is we also conduct research on food safety, like we are conducting field trials on peanuts and maize, peanut in India and maize in Africa, where we are trying to minimize the incidence of aflatoxin, which is very dangerous for the health. And in European market and also the US market, the level of aflatoxin that is there in our peanut is not allowed. So once we are able to fix that problem, India will be a biggest beneficiary. One of the biggest markets of Europe and US will open for our farmers. Then we also work on the gender aspect, whether our donors they ask us or not, but we make sure that we develop gender strategy for all the projects. Then we work on technology so that that technology can help farmers to increase their productivity, decrease the cost of cultivation, and also the post-harvest losses. So those kind of work we are doing, and that is proving to be a boon for the farmers. We don't recommend anything with until unless we try it on the field. So we have a research wing who tries all the gaps with the farmers, and then we recommend different good agriculture practices to the farmers so that they can get the real benefit out of it.
Interesting. And like you mentioned about that, Tanager is working in the domain of technology also to bring in newer interventions and tech interventions particularly to improve the produce and its effects. So what is your opinion on technology becoming a crucial part in agriculture? And how do you make sure that the communities that you work with are able to understand the importance of the same?
Our population is growing, and if you want to feed our population, and as Prime Minister said, Atmanirbhar, if you want to become Atmanirbhar, self-sufficient in agriculture, so we need good technologies. As I said earlier, majority of the farmers are small and marginal. So while introducing technology, one should be very cautious. It should be cost effective, and it should help farmers in increasing the productivity. One of the major problem that farmer they face is the lack of quality extension services. So the technology should start from the extension services, how we can give digital extension services to farmers so that their pest disease and other problems can be solved, because they face small problems on daily basis, like what type of disease has occurred, or when they should harvest, when they should apply fertilizer, when they should apply particular micronutrients. So those are problems. So we can think of bringing technology in extension. Then the sowing, which is labor intensive. Again, then intercultural operations like weeding and other things. So those technologies can help farmers. But also we should think of from buyers' perspective, the off-taker's perspective, you can bring, the blockchain technology, the technology which can help the buyers for, in terms of traceability. Everyone is interested in traceability. They want to know the origin of the produce. So that's also very important. And in very few products that has been tested, like in mango, and it has started. It has not yet started, but people, they are planning to start in coffee. So if that traceability comes in, farmers, they will be able to fetch better price in the market. Only introduction of technology doesn't work. That's why, many startups have come up, but the adoption rate is very low. First and foremost thing is change in behavior, change in attitude. So the organization like Tanager, we work with farmers through our community mobilizers who sensitize farmers through demonstrations, through classroom trainings, how these technologies can be affordable. So when they see from their eyes, then they start adopting the technologies. Otherwise, it will follow the same path. The early innovators will be very less. And by the time the entire community, they'll adopt the technology, that technology will become, the old or obsolete in the market. So if you want faster adoption, then we need to have good, grassroots organizations, the implementing organization who can work, hand to hand with farmers, where they can demonstrate the technologies. They can take them on exposure visits where it has been successfully implemented, and through different sensitization programs, like we do night camp, we do the puppet shows, and then we demonstrate in farmers field. Then only they adopt those technologies.
So what are some of the future interventions that Tanager is working on solving in the field of agriculture?
We are working on traceability. We are working on making FPOs work for the farmers. We are working on, integrating nutrition to all our agriculture projects. We are, helping FPOs to work for the farmers. So we have market readiness model where we are sensitizing buyers as well as we are organizing farmers to come at one platform where FPOs, they negotiate price with the buyers and they help buyers to aggregate the produce, and transaction happens through the FPOs. In this way, they make their profit, and also gradually they take the role of implementing organization. So if you want to make any project sustainable, you need to bring these local institutions, especially the farmer producer organization.
And coming to the end of the conversation, so what are some of the suggestions, considering that you've spent considerable time in the field? So what would be some of your suggestions to the people who are ideally trying to venture into the space of agriculture, or the organizations who are already in the space of agriculture and farming?
One of my suggestions would be first to tackle this huge influx of migrant laborers. So those states where the availability of labor is more, they should think of diversifying their crops so that more and more labor they can be involved. And those states which have labor problem, they should think of introducing good technologies which is less labor intensive, so that those farmers can become competitive. Because in absence of these laborers, problems will be more and the cost of cultivation will increase for those farmers. Then I should always advocate for integrating nutrition, which is a major problem. You see, there are many reports that is coming up on malnutrition. We'll have to think how good messaging can be done, how good intervention can be integrated with all the agriculture projects, so that farmers can produce quality and nutritive food items, and that can bring good nutrition to consumers as well as for farming families. Then the traceability, and for CSR practitioners, I must say that they should advocate for including agriculture in 7th schedule of the CSR Act. It's a part of rural development, and as a result, very few companies or corporates, they are willing to invest in agriculture. So when government will mention this agriculture as a separate subject, many more corporates will come forward to invest in agriculture, and that can happen only when the organization like CSR Box can come forward. They can make a network which can jointly advocate for agriculture and a long-term, well thought of project which can impact community as well as society as well. One of the last suggestions that I would like to give is that more and more corporates, the like-minded corporates who are interested to invest in agriculture, they should join hands to design a longer period of project which can have a better impact, which can impact the entire ecosystem, so that this agriculture sector can become self-sustainable and Atmanirbhar, as our Honorable Prime Minister said.
So that brings us to the end of the conversation. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Amit. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you very much.